Good evening and welcome to SAFC Fancast. My name is Harry. The cast of characters, we're going to start with the hardest working man in SAFC Sports Entertainment, Mr. Jonathan Check. How are you?
I'm alive. Glad we're back to doing shows. Hopefully, it starts with one and we can build a rhythm, regardless of how much the cast may rotate. I, I think I'm very much a creature of habit. So if we can do it, let's get it going again.
Yes, sir. I apologize. It was on me for
It's all
that
good.
here. Next up, the leader, or one of the leaders of FTC, one of the drummers, who was captured at the end of the game with not a happy face on his face. Mr. Matt, how are you?
Hey, leave me alone. I had a fucking headache with those damn kids, okay?
You can just admit that your Dynamo lost, and that's why you had the sad face. You saw that the Dynamo
No.
were
Oh,
on.
well, I give it to freaking Cassiano because he was giving me shit up top. But no, man, I don't know. One of the kids was just kept on yelling. It gave me a headache. I'm not gonna lie. But great night, guys.
And then last but not least, Rafa, the king of Mexico, or pardon me, the king of CONCACAF with the Gold Cup for that here. How are you, sir?
Good. Just ready for another work week. I do travel again on Wednesday, so I'll be heading to home base in Victoria, and finally get to meet the chancellor for Texas A&M. So we
That's
now
right. You're
do the transition.
big money now.
Yeah, we're the 12th man, 12th university for the system, and um, ready to go. But
Let's see here. We have Sith joining us, who does a great wrestling podcast here. I'll see if I can pull it up here. What's that actually right here? PTS TV, good show with Plead the Stiff, wrestling show, a little bit more R-rated than what we try to be. Patrick Eggman, hello everyone. Hello Rafa. Where's Madrid? It's been a while. Yeah, where's Madrid?
hey, at least they got to play. Uh, Barcelona had to play Al Sofa at the in the World Cup, Club World Cup.
Hey, better be careful because Lea's in here, so for you, bro.
I got him right here. He's like, what's good, vatos? Man, I was gonna cook Harry, which he is my arch enemy on the X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But I always represent with the MCS here, one of the good
I'm
guys
like,
at Sports All SanAntonio shows and sports, even though he loves draft picks for that here. Fucker's a Madrid fan as well. Are you kidding me?
I love Madrid.
Fucking idiot.
Oh, I
PTS,
love
word
it.
on the street is that a couple of y'all fellas are hopping on Plead the Stiff pod. That might be a rumor. I know Matt will probably be talking Dynamo on there for that
No,
here.
it's not always Dynamo, bro. Just because that was my first team.
It,
Good of the show, bro.
only missing is Coach Kana to add more of the Madrid flavor.
They'll
All right,
probably hop on in a bit.
he probably will. Although we haven't done a Sunday night show in forever, so we have to rebuild the audience. Let's
Blake
start
Bolt.
with transactions. Just want to do it real quick. Abdi Salim's 25-day contract is up before the next match. He was signed June 20th. It ends July 15th. So it'll be interesting if we hear if he's signed in he can sign another 25-day contract. I think he can sign two of them if my remembering of the rules is correct. I think he can sign up to. Jonathan can kind of check me on that, and then
I think it might actually be, at least for a player, might be able to sign multiple 25-day contracts with different teams. But I feel like I could have sworn there's some rule where a team can't sign a player to another 25-day contract.
Okay.
You either sign him on for the season at least, or you cut him loose. Sure, but maybe I can try and research that a bit.
Oh, that's fine. It's not a big deal.
Didn't we have a player a while back that we did sign a 25-day and then they kind of extended it? I think it was a couple years ago, I believe, that they ended up signing a permanent deal.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
say it's more than once, but not a huge deal. The other quick topic, because I don't want to get dragged down on it, because we got 2 games to touch. Harvey Neville on loan from Phoenix Rising. If you talk to Phoenix Rising fans, they're happy about the loan. If you're a Man U fan, Lamar Batista, Atlanta Cards mentioned, is the player that was that. If you're a Man U fan, you're excited because of the last name Neville. He did play last night as number 77. Thoughts on the loan? We'll go with you, Jonathan. Anything you want to comment on it as far as for the media?
Well, first of all, thanks to a quick
Uh-oh.
Google search, from the, let's see, what is this? USL Championship and League One roster and matchday rules from March of this year. I don't know why this pop-up is coming up. Where is it? Teams may sign players to a 25-day contract during the season. However, no club may enter into a 25-day contract with the same player more than once during the course of the season, and no club may have more than 2 players on 25-day contracts on their roster simultaneously. So that clears it up before this next match against New Mexico United. Abdi either gets picked up for at least the rest of the season or sent on to hopefully find another team that will find him to be more useful or needs him a little more than SAFC. Who knows? I don't know if I could say whether or not he stays or goes.
I lean he does. I thought he's been a decent third center back.
Yeah, that would be my guess. The unfortunate thing is he's kind of just there as depth, and even in El Paso, I think you mentioned he kind of got deployed more out wide, and so he's kind of just a utility player there. And it's weird to see that because you feel like SAFC should have enough wide players at this point, left backs, right backs, like that, but they wanted to move him out there. Anyway, Harvey Neville, he's played for, if you just look at his pedigree, a couple notable clubs in Europe. Manchester United, obviously the bigger one, but then Villarreal, or is it Villarreal, Valencia? I don't remember which one. But
Valencia, I think Valencia.
Okay, was it Valencia? Start with same letter. But anyway, notable clubs there. Good to come up in those European academies, and he's played for a couple decent setups here in the U.S. as well too. So he's if nothing else got experience. I would just say, I'm sure it's already kind of gone through his head, but he's trying to carve his own path and not just coast on what his name is. So we didn't really get to see much of him yet with SAFC, and apparently he had kind of fallen out of favor at Phoenix. So hopefully he finds the pastures here to be a lot greener. I mean, they literally will be, because Phoenix.
Well, he's at least in the 18, and he's already been on the field.
Yeah.
So
that's
an improvement on what he was in Phoenix, because he was healthy scratched in Phoenix.
Does anybody know the reason?
I haven't heard the reason, but to me it had to be serious enough, because he wasn't reports or people on social media. I guess I shouldn't say reports. People on social media were saying he wasn't even allowed to practice with the team. So there was some sort of falling out or some sort of miscommunication, whatever you want to say. But I'm happy he's here. It's a loan, so you figure he's got to be pretty inexpensive for SanAntonio for that here. Moving on to July 4th, El Paso Locomotive. We'll let you do the injury report, Jonathan, if you want.
Yeah, sure. I mean, usually, I could just say, hey, compared to the week before, here's what changed. But since it's been a while since we did one of these shows, you had Diego Pacheco, Juan Sebastian Osorio, Mohamed Omar, Jorge Hernandez, Nelson Flores Blanco on the list. Blanco was the only addition compared to the previous week, and Alex Grieve actually came off of it for the first time in almost 2 months. So good for him, and I believe it was that match that he made his return as a substitute. So, 5 people in the injury list, not ideal, but it will get worse. It can always get worse with SAFC, and we'll talk about that when we move on to the more recent match.
So the lineup had Hawkinson, Jake Lavaca, Agudelo, Soto, Hernandez, Brun, and that's Nicky Hernandez. Madranda, Tainter, Canali, Buckmaster, and Richard Sanchez for that here. Did you want me to go through the times in the game, or did you want to do that, Jonathan?
I guess I can go and do it. I actually did not include when we have a for substitution, but I tried. Yeah, okay. If you can just chime in at the appropriate time, there were 3 goals and a few things to talk about this match, so I don't want our show notes to be too bloated. But in the 11th minute, and this is one for the multiple haters on this show of Juan Agudelo who lament his work rate and all that. He, to his credit, is kind of alert of the play, pounces on some passing in the back, picks up the ball, and is able to muscle Wehabakwe off of it and just blasts it past Jamali Waite, takes a really good strike. And so his first goal of the season, at least in the league, he's gotten one in the Jägermeister Cup as well. So not a bad way to open your account. And I think it just shows that there is something he can contribute to the team, even if I know a lot of people, you guys aren't the only ones on this show that lament work rate and all that, but he's clearly still got something to offer. So don't sleep on him,
bro. I'm gonna compare him to fucking Sohan. That's what he is. He's the same thing. Same thing.
So, and then the next big event happened. Was the 34th minute. Richard Sanchez got subbed out. Nemani got subbed in. I think who was it?
Was that a Moreno that gave him the hit?
No, Wilbert Cabrera.
Cabrera, yeah.
Cabrera Jr.
Andy Cabrera.
Andy Cabrera.
Shit.
He went in. It wasn't intent. He did get a yellow card, but I think it's just because there was contact with the goalkeeper. I thought it was studs up. Other people thought it was more the knee that caught Richard, and maybe even he had got kind of hit by one of the SAFC players. I didn't go back and watch it after somebody told me that, but he was knocked out of the game due to injury with blood on his forehead. They ended up being a concussion sub for that here, and that's why he was in concussion protocol. And Jonathan will be able to go into a little bit more detail on that here if he has anything. But thoughts on Sanchez going out? I was like, oh no, we're in trouble. So, in some ways we are, but to be fair, Nemani held strong for that here for the most part here. But any thoughts on the Sanchez injury?
How was it not a red card? I still don't understand. I don't.
You're kind of the rules expert-ish, especially goalkeeping.
On that play, I don't think he even got. Yeah, he did get a yellow, but honestly, if we did have VAR, I think they would have changed it because there really was no intent on that play. He basically kind of headhunted him there, and I was surprised. Like I said, normally you see someone start bleeding, or majority of the time you'll see the red card, but that's kind of like I said, that's a head scratcher. But also most of the night if you saw there was a lot of yellow cards from that referee too, especially on our side. He wasn't consistent as far as some of those calls, but luckily we have Nemani. Nemani's proven himself, and like I said, he's just stepped in like nothing, and like I say, he made some great saves.
Go that far, but we'll
he's like I said, he's a lot better quality than we've had in the past. So especially from last year. So
he's not Jordan Farr, but he's there.
Jonathan, your thought, you were there. Yeah, I'm not sure how well you saw it, and I'm pretty sure you probably saw a replay of the game here, just how you keep up with the team. But your thoughts being there and kind of the environment in the stadium when Sanchez went down?
I mean, I don't really much of a feel for the environment because the press box at
That's right, it's
Southwest
inside.
University Park is it is enclosed. I don't at the time I don't think we had opened it up yet because it was Texas in July. So if you can enjoy the AC, you take it. But yeah, honestly, don't really remember that much as far as like how it went down in the stadium. I think I may have been going to tweet up a statistic or something.
What are you doing, Matt? Go ahead, Jonathan.
Okay. Don't know what that was.
Matt.
Anyway, no, I may have been going to look something up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, Sanchez is down. They're gonna have to sub him out. And I'm like, oh, that's not great. Just for him, not really any sort of commentary on Nemani there because he had gotten a couple clean sheets ready in USL Cup play. Didn't necessarily have to work for the one in Phoenix, but he did make a few saves in Colorado Springs. Maybe got let off with one or two lucky misses for the host there, but he had proven himself that he is a deserving backup. I'd say he deserves to be that next man up, and as a goalkeeper, he kind of knows that at any given moment it could be his time to shine, even if he sits on the bench for 15, 20 matches, even a whole season perhaps. And he comes in, unfortunately does concede his first goal in an SAFC shirt in a competitive match at least in the 67th minute. As I don't know who exactly took the initial shot, but Nemani kind of gets behind it, stops it initially, but doesn't hold on to it. And Armando Moreno is pretty quick to pounce on it, puts it in the net. Honestly, kind of similar to the goal I'd say that Jake Lakava scored for SAFC in the Jägermeister Cup against Union Omaha a few weeks ago, where the goalkeeper stopped it initially but didn't hold on to it, and Lakava just kind of pounces. Armando Moreno kind of just did the same thing there, I feel like. So that is, I mean, I don't know how much we want to dig into this, but that is something, and I mentioned this to you guys last night in the group chat. Maybe one of the weaknesses for Nemani is that he's not always holding onto the ball necessarily, and it as we saw there, it can lead to some serious opportunities and potentially a goal. So maybe something he can work on. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm seeing a couple of incidents and judging him off of that, but it's just kind of my assessment. Maybe Rafa, as the goalkeeping expert, has something different in mind.
Before we do that, Royce, I think, has joined us here. I muted him because he was getting stuff settled. So when you are ready, Royce, please hop in. I have added you. You are in the live preview, so it won't be like the first show we did where you were in the background the whole time. So you are good to go whenever you're ready. Rafa, your thoughts? I want to talk about Nanami afterwards, and for that here. But anything on Jonathan's point initially?
Can you hear me? Okay, I can hear. Okay, yeah, it was pinpoint on that. Like I said, it was similar to the play, like the Omaha. You could have maybe done a little. It was a difficult shot. I mean, initial save was great. It's just the rebound. I think if he kind of pushed it away, and it landed more towards the middle, the guy he was able to pounce on it. So, but it also goes back to our defense. Our defense kind of fell asleep, allowing that player to go in too. So if you watch the replay, we had some couple of our central defenders kind of, not paying attention to who was going into the box. So they have to learn how to anticipate that there might be, like I said, a rebound. They have to learn how to cut up a lot of those forwards that space. But it is what it is. But like I said, the initial save was a great one because it was a difficult one. Like I said, it's just unlucky that Mexico was able to pounce on that rebound.
And then I wanted the next one here, 83rd minute. Nikki passes on a free kick. Irviv serves it in, but it gets repealed. repelled, but Nicky was there to volley it back in, and Crownally, according to Jonathan, lost his marker long enough to slot it in and coolly give SAFC the win. I thought it was a beautiful play. I think the assist should be one of the top assists of the league or the year for USL. Royce, welcome to the show. We can see you. Hopefully, you're doing well. Your thoughts on that goal from Alex Crownally?
We're talking about. All right, so here comes the experiment time. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Is it bad? Like, tell me the audio. This is something that we need to sort out because this is a new mic, a new setup, and I'm still trying to figure out.
Just a volume little down.
Little down.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll do that. Anyway, the Crownally goal in El Paso, pretty clutch goal. A lot of madness happened after that. There was a 5-minute stoppage of play that led up to that. A lot of fouling, a lot of typical CopaTejas stuff that no matter what teams are playing that we would expect, right? Whether it's RGV, RIP, Austin Bold, RIP, El Paso, or SanAntonio. If any of those teams were playing each other, we'd expect the exact same shenanigans. And it was happening for the 5 minutes that preceded it. SanAntonio kept their focus. Obviously, El Paso lost theirs because Crownally was all by himself on the back post. Nicky just kind of put it up there, hoping for the best, and hey, it worked out. It kind of reminded me of an entertainer where you're looking for somebody on the back post way back there, and it just, it worked out. Crownally finished like we need our strikers to finish, because if he would have finished like our strikers so far this season, that would have been skied over the net. He kept it low. I'm just kidding. Our strikers have done really well. I mean, we're top in the West.
Let's not go that far. Come on.
Well, we're top in the West. I mean, you can't complain that much with the.
You can
but
complain.
here's the thing though. Here's the thing though. It could get better, and that's
we need a number 9.
Well, that's the good thing about this team, right? We're number 1 in the West. We look pretty damn good, but it could get better, and that's a sign of a good team, and that's a good sign of the Yomosa regime so far. So, but just going to the Crownally last-minute goal, just getting back to the point, it's what you want. They fought hard. They kept their focus, put the ball in the back of the net. They left El Paso with 3 points. What more could you want?
Matt, your thoughts? I do want to just finish up on the steps. Of course, CopaTejas match. Getting the away win is huge because the last match of the year is against El Paso, so CopaTejas will be on the line. But unlike last year where I think we went to there, this year we hold the 2-1 lead for that here along those lines here. Also, Team of the Week, Alex Crownally with Krog Nation supporting for that here, based on the notes for that here. So we'll go to you, Matt. Your thoughts on the El Paso game. I do also want to highlight, shout out to the El Paso fans. They had a record over 8,000. They're one of the highest attended matches. I guess I shouldn't say it's a record, but one of the highest attended matches of over 8,400 on the July 4th game. And I know there were several AFC fans that went over, including your parents and yourself. So your thoughts on the game, Matt, and then we'll go to Jonathan, Rafa, and then Royce to finish up. And then we got to move on to Tampa.
I think he's on mute.
You're on mute, Matt. Can't hear you. All right, we'll go to Jonathan and come back to you, Matt.
All right. Yeah. So I think I'll actually kind of echo. I believe it was Carlos Yomosa was saying after the match that it kind of says something about the team that they can go to an El Paso side that's been doing pretty well this year and get that 2-1 win. Not exactly a dominating win or anything, but sometimes this is what you have to do. You just have to take advantage of your moments and grind it out. Just get one more goal than your opponent. That's exactly what SAFC did. So going into this match, I think El Paso was in second, SAFC was in third. So this is pretty much the polar opposite of what it was last year when SAFC and El Paso were just trying to get above the playoff line. So it's good to see two competitive teams in the West going at it again and starting the chase for CopaTejas this year. Like we said, last match of the season is at SAFC's place, and they've got the advantage. It's actually the opposite of what it was last year, where the first CopaTejas match was in San Antonio. El Paso won it. They had an advantage going into that match at the end of the season, and because of a late collapse from SAFC, El Paso was able to retake CopaTejas. So, it's good from that in-state supremacy perspective, and I think just good from the perspective of SAFC showing that they can get results away in difficult atmospheres against difficult teams.
Rafa.
Well, the reason why they had a big crowd is because our team was there. So just get that off the bat. Every time we're there.
Or fireworks. We'll just lay it.
Well.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but sure.
That one, but to go in there, like I said, it's a hostile environment. It's a rivalry game. To steal 3 points, especially that way, kind of like the last minute, it's a good confidence booster, and you're starting to see that here with this, say, including to the next game. But it's
can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay. Fuck those.
The game was great. Like I said, I know we had a little misception there. I think the red card also kind of helped out too, because Golazo did get hurt, so it kind of opened some space. But great win. Hopefully, like I said, last game of the season, we take the cup back. And like I said, that game may be something on the line, because, like I said, how we are in the standings, it be meaningful for us and for them too. As far as we get home playoff spot and so forth. So, but great win for the guys. I'm sure the trip back was great, and we'll talk about the next game in a bit.
All right, Matt, we're gonna go to you first. We'll go to you last. Or actually, we'll do Royce last. Matt, go.
So basically, I was just a little scared about that game because without a couple of the players and that injury list, it kind of like, I was like, oh shit, like I don't know what's gonna happen. But we prevailed. I wasn't hesitant in the text what I said, and I still stand by it every time. But I'm glad he did what he did. He checked the hell out of El Paso player before that goal. So I give you this one, Roy. He did good on that.
Royce, your final thoughts in a minute and a half.
Let's go ahead and mark this time down. It's July 13th at about 8:35. Matthew Gamez finally gave Juan Aguilar some flowers. That's kind of good to see here. That goal is.
I think Matt's drunk, dude. So
well, he's still drunk off the Jaeger from the Jägermeister Cup game.
That shit was
tough.
That shit was disgusting.
You didn't have to.
Root beer.
You didn't have to. I'm telling you, root beer and Jaeger, chef's kiss.
It's
wonderful.
July 26th. July 26th.
July 26th.
I'll bring
It'll be the repeat.
It just makes it stronger. It just makes that taste stronger. It doesn't do nothing.
No, it doesn't. It just tastes like root beer. You don't taste it.
Hold on. Pause. We're already at 30 minutes. Royce.
Okay.
Your thing
all right.
Before we move on to the
let me wrap it up. Let me wrap it up real quick. Juan Agudelo, great individual effort on that goal. That's exactly what we want to see him do. Be physical, be skillful, and for goals. And then they stuck with it. They stuck tough in a tough environment and a tough game. Crognali with the winner. I'm interested because it's kind of in the back of my head right now. J-Check, I know you're more of the statistician. Is this the first 2-game stretch between the last game that we're about to talk about and this game in El Paso where the opposition for SAFC has received a red card and we're down a player? Is this the first time we've had back-to-back games in SAFC's history? Because I don't remember 2 back-to-back like this. Obviously deserved. And both double yellows. They weren't violent conduct, but double yellows. But I'm interested to kind of think that one through because I don't think there has been back-to-back. But SAFC's on a roll. And here's a big thing. This is all without Jorge Hernandez. He's been out for a month. That's your best attacker, arguably your best player. And they've played as a team, and they're keep this train rolling on down to SanAntonio. So love to see it. Really happy with it.
So moving on to Tampa, which was last night's game. Oh, pardon me. We already did thoughts. So yeah, moving on to Tampa. Injury report, according to Jonathan Check, same 5 as last week before Sanchez added while out with concussion protocol, which we went through. Then Jimmy Madronda was added at game time for a total of 7 out. Jimmy was kind of the surprise of there. If you and you should read, hold on, that way I don't screw up the damn name.
We're off to a great start there, huh?
If you read Bluish Moon at bluishmoonblog.wordpress.com, Jonathan Check told us that
proud of you, Harry.
that Sanchez was unofficially out for the game based on, of course, it wasn't official, but I had sent Jonathan hey, does this mean he's out? And everybody's like, duh, Harry.
Well, so I mean, just chiming in there, like we had talked in the pregame interviews, and Yamosa had said, yeah, he's still out with concussion protocol, and I'm drawing a blank on his name right now, but I know someone on Twitter was kind of saying like, why are we surprised about this? It's a mandated week at least out
10 days,
for
right? 10 days.
Protocol, something like that. Yeah. So, if he came off for a concussion substitute, then no one should be surprised that he was still out. So yeah, but 7 people on that injury report, probably the longest of the year. This is the SAFC we know and love.
So with that, it brought this starting lineup, which I was kind of surprised. Hankinson and Agudelo up top. Paredes, Hernandez, Barón, Gomez getting his first start of the year, or first start in a long time. Tanner, Soto, Canali. I was kind of surprised that Soto was as a center back because I thought he was more defensive mid, just on his position, but how SAFC listed, and then Buckmaster on the other side, and then Nemani gets the start here, his first league start with, according to Jonathan Tech, Sanin Gomez with first league minutes. I knew he'd been in for that here. So thoughts on the lineup? We'll go with you, Matt, then Rafa, then Royce, and then end up with Jonathan for that to talk about the Rowdies news.
I mean, once again, I'm sorry, but till this day, I'm always going to be scared when I see one player up top. It's just how it's going to be. And it was
17?
Huh? Yes.
17?
I just, dude, I get scared every time. I'm sorry. Like, it just, I'm traumatized. I'm not even going to lie. I am traumatized. But, hey, I left it in God's hands, and look what happened.
Rafa?
Like when we talked earlier about the formation, Harry, now kind of looking at it with Soto, you mentioned about Soto being there. Actually, now watching the game from last night, I think Soto ended up playing more of a stopper position. So I think it was more of a 4-4-2.
He played that. He played that
stopper.
Pekka. He played that Pekka position where he'd come up as a 6 in possession and back as like almost a middle center back. In defense.
Yeah, so I guess I'm now kind of looking at more. Yeah, they played it's a basically a 4-2, but the midfield's in a diamond shape. But Soto's playing more of the middle, kind of that stopper role between Crognali and Tanner. I mean, like I said, with the injuries, I'm glad to see Shannon out there. He's getting his opportunity there. I know he hasn't played much, but we know he can hold his own. And Nicky's been playing great. The last few games. So when you say Paredes, remember he had to sit out a game against El Paso. Against El Paso. So I was glad to have him.
That was the game he served?
Yeah, that's the game that he didn't play. He had to sit.
But it worked out for SAFC because then he played the Colorado Springs Jägermeister game, which I think if he didn't have the red card, he wouldn't have played that. So for SAFC, it worked out. Royce?
Good formation.
No, I mean, I said it on our social medias. The initial availability list that we get from Morgan a couple days before the game, or a day or two before the game, listed 6 as questionable, and then the actual IL that we got day of game had 7, and like J-Check says, Madrano was a big surprise.
This is the problem with Leha. Harry told me not to look forward to the game on the 26th. Is he right? Come on, man.
Dumb. Just dumb.
But go back and try to get some more Spurs picks because we know you like them.
But the group that I really want to give kudos to this time around and really hype up is the midfield. It's been night and day from last season. The midfield. And, I mean, give huge flowers to Soto. Barone has been a huge. He's filled some huge shoes in that midfield, and he has looked good, especially as a youth player and a guy that we weren't 100% sure if he was going to be a starter. Just kind of wasn't he one of the trialists that came into preseason camp? He wasn't even an actual a big signing, and he earned his way onto the team. He's been huge, and then of course Nicky. Nicky's kind of taken over that 10 role that Jorge's kind of been out injured. So he's kind of fulfilled that, but he's kind of played an 8 and it's kind of been a little more defensive. But man, they've locked some teams up recently and they've looked good. And I'm really impressed by the midfield. They don't get a lot of attention, but they've been, and that's a sign of a quality midfield. If you don't know them, they're probably doing a damn good job. So, man, they've been great. And yeah, I mean, the formation's a formation. What are you going to do? It's kind of a defensive formation, but it's a possessive formation, and it just tries to find those little holes. And Tampa in this game came out, and they were very pressing. They were very aggressive. And they really made it hard for SAFC to kind of establish anything early on.
Before we get into the last pretty much kicks of the game, Jonathan, any notes on the Rowdies that you wanted to mention? Or do you want me to mention it?
I mean, I can just say there was some news in the week leading up to this match on the Tuesday, I believe it was, where the Rowdies, after roughly 3 months with an interim head coach, finally decided to get Dom Casiato from Union Omaha, paid a fee to buy him out of his contract and everything, and so he'll be the one taking the Rowdies forward. And so this created kind of an interesting wrinkle for SAFC because they had been preparing for a Rowdies side that hadn't had the best season so far, but had started to get some results recently under the interim coach. And then all of a sudden they're up against a coach that they faced twice already this year with Omaha, including 2 weeks before this match. So there was kind of some mystery as far as, okay, what are we going to see out of the gates? Because we've seen this coach a couple times, but he had obviously a completely different set of players. And, these players for Tampa Bay have kind of started to show some signs of life in recent weeks. So it was just kind of a bit of a mystery. They had some ideas of, okay, they admitted after the match they kind of expected that high pressure early on, something that Casiato had been doing with Omaha. So Tampa Bay, I guess, was able to latch onto that style pretty quickly. And that was kind of the thing that I noticed most at the start of the match was that pressing style. So it just created kind of an interesting wrinkle. And Carlos Llamosa said, we're kind of preparing for what we saw with him when we played Omaha, but also what we've seen from Tampa Bay. And, I think I even said in my preview, it's going to be a mix of the two. You have to have a little of one, a little of the other.
So the only thing, how do I say this in positive? In my opinion, that was memorable of the game was in the 95th minute where Paderas played through on the right, scored it up for Luke Hawkinson to tap in for dramatic win. And then he went over, and to me, it was kind of reminiscent of what's his name?
Ryan
coach,
Roshandle?
Ryan Roshandle, with the academy kids, because I don't think there were academy kids, but there were a bunch of kids that were over there that were all hopping on Luke, and to me it was a great fan interaction, goal scoring thing there with it being that late here. But to me, just kind of thoughts on the game. We'll go with you, Matt. There I know you had a headache and you weren't very happy based on your post game image. Then we'll go Matt. We'll go Royce next, and then we'll go Rafa, and then Jonathan for there if he wants to follow up with any media notes or anything from the post game.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Oh, wait, who's going? It was Royce,
You.
right? Oh,
No, you first, then Royce, then Rafa, then Jonathan with any. Unless you want to start with Jonathan with any post game that he wants to go with. Yeah, let's start with Jonathan in case post game, then Matt, then Royce, then end up with Rafa. So that'd probably be the smart way to do that here. So go Jonathan.
So I'll kind of echo what you said there. It wasn't exactly the most memorable match. You could see, and I was actually, I'll even admit, we were coming up to full time and it was still scoreless. So I was doing a sort of scoreless draw, full time tweet, basically saying you can see some positives from both of these sides, but it's like they're not quite fitting the pieces together. And you can understand why the Rowdies would have that problem with new head coach and all that. With SAFC, it's halfway through the season, so for it to look disjointed like that, and it's you maybe just expect a little more from them, particularly at home. So not the most convincing performance, but then obviously you get that win at the end, dramatic late winner, like you said, kind of reminiscent of Roshandle's goal with the way he goes over and celebrates. I think, not to toot my own horn, but I would say go read my recap because there are a couple interesting quotes from Hawkinson there. One where he's kind of talking about just the build up to that goal, knowing that Paredes has this sort of aura about him, if nothing else, because of his speed that he's going to be focused on. And so he kind of knew, okay, if Tampa Bay is going to focus on him, that's going to leave some space for me to operate in. I just need to follow this play through. And that's sort of how he finds himself in that position, is just seeing, okay, they're going to be drawn to Andres. I just need to be in the right position. I need to stay on side. And, it was a relatively easy finish, I'd say. I know in the moment it's probably not the easiest, but compared to some other strikes, it's kind of just a tap in, really. And he executed it. He didn't make any mistakes. So credit to him. And he also did talk about how, he to say he was composed and everything in this moment, but there is a bit of urgency at the end where you're saying, okay, we've really been pushing, particularly after SAFC went up a man with over 20 minutes to go. They're just pushing and pushing, and there was questions of a penalty which shouldn't have been awarded anyway. There was kind of a weird sequence where the goalkeeper, Tampa Bay's goalkeeper, goes down, and there's a foul whistled against SAFC when SAFC thought it had kind of poked the ball over the line. So just these situations of almost but not quite, and so SAFC was really pushing for that goal and finally gets it at the end. So not the prettiest match, but a win is a win. What else do you guys have to say about it?
Matt, or pardon me, Royce, you're next.
I mean, what a game. Just kind of, like I said, we're missing Jorge. Jorge is, a lot of our offense goes through him, but we do have Paredes, and Paredes has really helped out, really come into his own with the team and in the league. He created a lot of dangerous chances. I know earlier in the game he had a really nice cross to Agudelo. It was deflected before it got to him, so he did a good job of timing it right to get the shot off. It just happened to be right where the goalkeeper was, so good on the goalkeeper for that save. But, man, drama. Great goal by Hackinson. A great play. A great pass initially from Grieve. I'm going to give Grieve some flowers there. Great pass. It was kind of a weird, wonky play by Tampa Bay. Went right to Grieve. Grieve with the big up, a big through diagonal ball to Paredes. Paredes got on the end of it and had the crossover to Hackinson. An awesome celebration. That's going to be a classic. That's going to be a team classic. We're going to that one for years to come. I think that's going to be one of those that hits the highlight reel, kind of like Rochandle's hit the highlight reel. And then after we do our little wrap up right here, Harry, I have a quick 3-question quiz for all of you for the first half of the season. It's going to be really fast,
Oh my god!
but I want to go through it. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, you
Anyway,
can't bitch at
so-
me about the time, dude. You
It's
cannot
fine.
bitch at
I'm
me
not-
about the time.
I was late on here. I'm not going to complain about crap. So it's going to be quick. It's not going to be a long one. It's going to be 3 simple questions. Some interesting answers, though.
But the college credit so I can transfer to UHV.
You mean
I'm just-
TA?
About saying UHV is no longer a thing. It's
I'm
TAMV.
TAMUV. TAMUV. The real
But-
Jaguars.
Overall, man, that
Go
game
ahead,
was
Matt.
that game was pretty great. I mean, from our standpoint, the barrio was so what's the word I'm looking for? It was kind of bigger than usual. I'm
It
not
was
gonna lie.
packed. It looked packed.
It
Yeah,
looked,
it was
it,
loud.
there were more people than usual, and I was texting Cassiano. I was like, "Hey, is there more people up there than usual?" He's like, "Bro, it's kind of packed up here." And then to see like towards the end of the game, watching on ESPN, they kind of filled out the dance floor. Not gonna lie, like it was a good amount of people. There was 2 guys going up to Junior. They wanted to wave flags, and they went up to the very top, pulled some flags down. They started waving them. Overall, in our section, great. Everything was amazing, except those fucking kids. Anyways,
Hey.
Anyways,
Kids are
Whoa.
Hey.
Settle down.
hey, we have couples for a reason. That's all I got to say. Anyways, but that just
Matt's
that
keeping.
the whole build up was worth it. I can say that for that. That build up was hella worth it. Just you had that feeling if like man, like how Jonathan said, like I thought it was gonna be a draw, and nothing, and that was it. But thankfully we did pull the W and we got to celebrate. But someone put in one of the group chats, in the group pages, that they went to get what's his name, the one that came from Phoenix.
Neville.
Yeah, Mitch Taylor went to go get him so that way he can
Celebrate.
celebrate with us. I was like, wow, because he was already walking to the locker room apparently, and Mitch called him over. He's like, you're with us. I was like, I thought I'd give him
The
his
same
power.
Phoenix.
That was good.
Yeah, this ain't Phoenix.
I'll give my 2 cents, and I'll give credit to my son because I banged up my knee. I'm going to get an MRI tomorrow. So
Oh, no.
So I had actually left the stadium about 88th minute, and I was in the car driving back, and I didn't know SAFC had won until I got home. But I saw AJ's tweet. I was like, dude, this was all the ref's fault because of all the time wasting. And when I rewatched the game there, the ref added that extra minute because of the Tampa Bay time wasting, which ended up costing them all 3 points for that here. Rafa, your final thought?
Yeah, I mean, the game, it was a little frustrating. One thing I do want to kind of nitpick, some of the passing was horrendous, during the game. It was like very I said they were not
Lackadaisical.
lackadaisical, yeah, and that was allowing actually Tampa Bay to counter us, and I think that's one area we still need to improve on. But like Royce mentioned, not having Jorge does kind of it hurts us a bit of that. But still, you're a professional. You still gotta deliver. So hopefully they can fix that. But what do you say about the goal and the play? I mean, you see Paletta's running, faster than a Nissan Kicks down the right wing, and then crossing it in, and boom, goal.
Hold on. Where did that come from? What the hell where does that analogy come from? Explain yourself.
Just the commercials I see, just driving down.
Wow.
I mean, Is he fast as a Ferrari? Well, I don't know about that, but I'm sure he's faster than the Nissan Kicks. But sends the cross in, taps it in. There you go. We get the win. But you can feel like one goal was going to win the game. And like I said, they're in the bunker. We're ready to explode. We're ready. Like, hey, we get one, boom, it's over. We're gonna, like I said,
I
once
thought it was
they
going to
came
be a
in,
0-0 game.
at
I
first,
told Chris, who I was sitting next to all game, I was like, dude, this is after the first half, I was like, this is a 0-0 draw, and neither team can break, because the back line of both teams is their strength. And I think what helped SAFC was one of the USL all-time greats, Lasso, getting that second yellow, and it was a deserved second yellow, to be fair. But Lasso going out was through here. Ginny Check also with another one here. Paderas runs like a scalded cat for that here.
Well, faster than the Black Cat room they had the last game. But I mean, it's like I said, but those are the type of wins that builds character for your team, and those are and like I said, I'm not saying that it's mirroring what we did 2022, but those are the types of ones that helps your team and helps build confidence, and then hey, we still have a chance until they blow the whistle. We still have a chance because, like I said, last year we lost a lot of those, so we had a lot of ties. This is you can tell the vibe. It's a little bit different, but you got to grant it. It's Coach Amos is really. I think the players really bought into his system of play. I think he's the work ethic. You can tell the players are really playing for him. You don't want to disappoint him, and it's starting to show. Like I said, we're now on a 4-game winning streak, and it's. I think, except we're not there yet, but I think we can. Like I said, there's more room for improvement, but I think eventually we're going to get better and better. And like I said, we're starting to peak at the right time, critical time these later months.
So Chris Lea asked a very important question. Hey, Rafa, what's your take on kicks? It could be shoes or your Nissan kicks.
Nissan kick? No kicks. I mean, I have Adidas. I wear Adidas. Some Puma.
My fucking God.
So SAFC is at the top of the table for the West here. However, to be fair, Tulsa can jump us because they do play Tulsa. They're 2 games behind us. They do play Monterey Bay Union on Wednesday, and then follow up at Lou City, which is an extremely tough match for that here. But AJ said Tulsa is a team to watch for this year. He watched their game this past week here, and he says this isn't the normal Tulsa team. Even though they were up 2-0, went down 3-2, and they came back to win 4-2 at home for that here. One thing, and I'm going to toss it to Matt and Rafa here, and I'll bring up the old comment here from PTS TV. Susie is pulling up to the tailgate, and I know nothing about football. I'll do my research beforehand, fellas. But July 26th, New Mexico United, Jägermeister Cup, Group 2. SAFC needs a draw to advance. So whether win or lose in PKs, as long as they get a draw or a win, they're into the next round. New Mexico has to win in regular time to advance. SAFC at 9 points theoretically could be a wild card, but since the tiebreakers is gold scores and they are below. Have only scored, I think, 4 goals, I believe here is the first thing here. So when I was looking at it here, not likely for them to get a wild card, even if they do finish with 9 points here. But my point of bringing up the next match here is Matt, Rafa, and Stuart, FTC and 210 Alliance have been promoting the next tailgate. Matt and Rafa, go ahead and tell us what you guys are pushing for the next tailgate for it here.
So our buddy Chris Leja is rolling in 20 deep to our next tailgate. So we're going to have a little bit of a MCS tailgate next week. So we're going to try to make it as big as we did which one was it? The 28th? Was it the 28th was the last big tailgate? I think so, yeah. So we're trying to make it as big as possible. It's like I put on our post, you want to bring more food, you want to bring whatever y'all want, feel free to. I'll cook it. I don't care. The more people enjoy the tailgates, the better. That's what we're here for. I'm not here to what's the word I'm looking for? I'm here to host y'all. I'm not here to just chill. I want everybody to enjoy the tailgate. That's why we argued and we had our talks with FO to get where we're at. So, like I said, like I say in some of the group chats on the Facebook, as long as it's 90 minutes before, that's when they should be. Our security is going to be charging. If it's before the 90 minutes, security isn't supposed to be charging anybody.
That's 6:30, people.
6:30.
So we've been telling Taylor they have been trying to figure that out, but I'm just trying to give everybody that humble warning so that way they shouldn't be charging y'all to get into the tailgate area if you're coming to tailgate with us until 90 minutes before, which is 6:30 at the moment. But yeah, like I said, MCS and Chris Lehag are roll up with us to tailgate, and we're gonna have Corner Cake Mafia, and also obviously we have Tono Alliance with us as well. So, like I said, this is one of those big tailgates before the future ones. So we're just trying to make it very lively.
Hey, do you know if you're going to be doing any donations again for the flood relief and at the Hill Country?
Yeah, I can stretch it.
Mm-hmm.
We can stretch it. Right now, MCS is the one who's our top donator at the moment for about 250. So we're still trying to figure out where we're gonna send it to. It's in between either going to TV High School or maybe a soccer program out there in around Kerrville to commemorate their coach. So we wanted to keep it in the soccer community.
It's fair enough.
Rafa, your thoughts, or do you have any comments on the tailgate? And then I had two topics that was going to be other news, but I guess we'll still do it, and then we'll do the three questions.
Yeah, my three questions will be quick, but go ahead, Rafa. Do you have any thoughts?
Just real quick, if anybody does go on the 26th, if they want to come, if they come early, if they want to come help me set up, I know we're gonna be down a man, so just stop by, set up the banners, the flags, the drums, and all that. You're more than welcome to. I have passes.
What
like
time?
I said, I haven't. Since it's an 8:00 game, we'll try to start setting up about right before 6, so I can have a crew, at least myself and 5 other people. So just show up, tell them, hey, I want to volunteer. You want to volunteer? Come. We can get everything set up. That way we can do it quick. That way we can come back, enjoy the tailgate. Right, we would go back before we get back to the to the stadium and so forth. So just putting that out there, and just like I said, looking forward for the 26th. I'm sure it should be fun and exciting, and hopefully we can get a win against New Mexico.
So my two topics, I'm gonna have you pick and choose, and we'll go around the horn. One, you can pick topic one, FIFA World Cup, your thoughts with Chelsea winning over PSG. And the second topic is Gold Cup. Rafa, since you're a homer of Real Madrid and Mexico here, I guess you can touch base on both. And I guess Royce, you can touch base on both here. Matt, you can't. I'm not allowing 2 Mexico fans for that here. So through the here. So we got Royce with USA, Rafa with Mexico. Thoughts on Gold Cup, and if they want to comment on World Cup for that here. We'll start with you though, Matt, and then Jonathan with Manchester City going out with the biggest disappointing loss, biggest upset of the FIFA World Cup, maybe.
Club World
Cup. Pardon me, FIFA Club World Cup. Sorry. Go, Matt. You want to talk FIFA World Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, or the Gold Cup? As far as for your thoughts,
I'll go Gold Cup. I didn't really watch the FIFA Club Cups much.
Disappointing. It's because Man U wasn't in it. So. Go.
My bad. I mean, hey, the Gold Cup was great. I mean, I didn't care who won at the end of the day. Maybe a little bit favored one way, but
you're Orlando Donovan.
Hey, I was just trying to see if Diego Luna was actually going to show up like he promised, and
I think he did.
skite the heck out of that ball. But I mean, he did good for the previous games. Yes, I'll give him his flowers for that. But dang,
I think he earned a World Cup slot, so I'll give him
I
that.
100% agree on that. I 100% agree on that part. I think he deserves a chance in the
26
roster.
Jonathan, any thoughts that you had?
As far as, I guess I'll start with the Gold Cup. I mean, obviously the U.S. lineup was a little more experimental. Some players busy with the Club World Cup, or some of them just wanting to take some time off. So it gave us a chance to look at our depth. Like you guys said, Diego Luna, former Paso Locomotive player, came through their system for a couple years there. He might be playing at the World Cup next year for all we know. He's probably one of not even a handful of guys that were in this roster that have earned a look for that. So good for him. Congratulations for him. And otherwise, I hope us and Mauricio Pochettino kind of learned about their depth, or perhaps lack thereof, maybe. Because it sort of felt to me like the U.S. just sort of stumbled through this tournament for the most part. And, finally, when you're up against a quality Mexico side in the final, you just don't have not enough gas in the tank to keep going. As for the Club World Cup, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a fan of this expanded format that, to its credit, is apparently going to be every 4 years now. I
think it's a success. I think it was a success.
I'm just not a fan of it, though, especially because with club teams, you can have people who earn their spot 2-3 years before, who by the time the tournament actually rolls around can be a completely different team, because it's it's club based. Players are always moving around and stuff. So I just kind of don't like it from that sense. I also feel like it's just so many teams. It's such a massive tournament. I kind of liked having the smaller, 1 or 2 week tournament that we had in previous years.
Well, it was a week. But I didn't watch it. I'll admit, I didn't
probably
watch
a little
the.
more than
That was the Intercontinental. That was about a week. That was shorter version of it.
Yeah, Club World Cup would have been probably at least 2 weeks, I would think, because you'd have 8 teams. You need to have 3 group stage matches, and then I think semifinal and final from there. So can't have it too quickly. But yeah, I guess maybe you didn't watch it just because it was in December. So maybe having it in summer from a viewership perspective is better. Sure, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of expanding tournaments and making them these bigger spectacle. Like, not everything has to be a massive tournament that we host in the US for, all the money that FIFA can milk out of fans. It's going to get old. It already in some ways has.
Royce, your thoughts before we go to the King of CONCACAF, Rafa?
Yeah, I didn't really care for either tournament. Didn't watch them. I'm more focused on my team here at home. FC, happy about their streak.
I will say for the U.S., it was a decent tournament to find out the depth, but I think for Mexico, and I think Rafa will be able to talk about this, they took it a lot more serious. And we'll see what his thoughts are with Mexico taking advantage of the last official meaningful game before the World Cups for for the 3 CONCACAF teams.
Yeah, with Mexico, Javier Aguirre had a kind of, I guess he kind of had something set for this, some goals. He wanted to see what this team was about. Winning the Leagues of Nations was kind of a first step because, like I said, they had to hit the reset button after the whole fiasco with Jimmy Lozano and all that. So you're starting to see this team starting to improve, starting to kind of relieve itself, finding the right players. Like I said, this team that they have, like I mentioned to Matt, is like this is probably you're going to see out of that roster, probably 60% of them are going to end up in the World Cup team. I think there's still some slots still open. like I said, you got to look at some of the players that play, like Malagon played decent. Our captain Edson Alvarez, he was lights out. I think AC Milan's actually after him now. So he may be playing over there. Raul Jimenez delivered. I mean, he's been their top striker. He's probably the top striker right now in CONCACAF. And from that injury he had, that head injury he had, and now coming back.
Tani Oluwaseyi has something to say about that, but we'll see about that later.
Well, Tani got knocked out of the tournament, so he didn't deliver. But like I said,
you're not really bringing Canada into this, are you? Canada, who's struggling to pay their team, who's struggling to.
Yeah, they're struggling. They're struggling because Alphonso Davies is out with injury, so there's that too.
But I think the biggest thing out of this was the emergence of Gibraltar Mora.
Yeah,
at age 16. Yeah, and he plays for Tijuana for Cholos. He's already gaining attention from a lot of the European teams. I'm hearing rumors that he ended up going to, I think, with Barcelona's B team, and that has to do because Rafa Marquez he used to coach that squad. I think that's the move he really does need to go, is head over there to kind of fine tune his game, and he's just gonna get better and better. And there's other guys they're gonna look at, and it's a great win. It's a good confidence booster. But even Aguirre said, it's great we won this, but we're not done yet. We still got a lot more work to do. The roster's not set, and that's why he's going to use these friendlies. I know in September they got coming up. They got I think Japan and South Korea, and then they just recently announced a Dallas game on October the 11th. I think Colombia. I don't know who they're going to play afterwards, but he's basically trying to get everything set to the point, because they lost also Chavez too. He's out. Hopefully they'll get him back right before the start of the World Cup, because he's an integral part of that team, especially with the free kicks. But he's starting to see. Like I said, like I said, it's just like I said, they did great. And then as far as the Club World Cup, the one thing I can say about this, there were some great matchups, like some different styles of play, especially like the Brazilian teams. I mean, I think they had something to prove. Yeah, kudos to them. They had some great, like I said, Fluminense and all that. So it was good to see different styles of play. Maybe they'll change the format as far as who gets on the team. But like I said, it was good to have soccer. Maybe they need to change the times, not play in the afternoons, get heat stroke. But we'll see about that.
All right, Royce, let's bring on your 3 questions that you're going to try to humiliate us with.
Yeah, now that we're done talking about Mexico beating us, USMNTC team, and
hey,
we're
done.
We're done. The only reason I know that Chelsea
won, that quit on the team. We don't have players quit on the team. We don't have players that quit on the team. There's a difference. You got a group of players.
It's crazy how Chucky Lozano and Tecatito and everybody was there. Oh wait, quit on the team, huh? Anyway, so let's move on here. The only reason I know that Chelsea won the Club World Cup is a former SAFC player, Lance Lang, was all over his social media, just happy as a pig in mud. Anyway, so the 3 quick questions.
We have Stuart on for that.
3 quick questions I'm going to wrap around real quick is number 1, halfway through the season, who leads SAFC in shots? Who leads SAFC in shots halfway through the season? J-Check, I'm going to go with you last because you may actually know the answer. Matthew, who leads SAFC in shots? Quickly.
I feel like it's Juan Agudelo. I don't know why.
Okay. Rafa, who leads the team in shots halfway through the season?
I think Jorge Hernandez, because he's the leading scorer.
Incorrect. Harry, who leads the team in shots?
Jimmy Medranda.
That's incorrect. J-Check.
Medranda was up there. Last I saw, it was Andres Paredes.
That is correct. Andres Paredes leads the team in shots so far. Second question, real quick. Who leads the team halfway through the season in passes? Matthew, who leads SAFC in passes halfway through the season?
Isn't that one Jorge?
It is not. Rafa, who leads
It's a center
SAFC
back.
in passes?
It's a center back.
Tainer?
Incorrect. Harry, who leads SAFC in passes?
Cronelli.
God damn it. Harry got it. Alex Cronelli leads SAFC
You know
in
what?
passes.
The biggest frustration of this match was, and I love Shannon Gomez, but whenever he got the ball, he fucking passed it back to Mitch, who passed it back to Cronelli, who passed it back to Mitch, who passed it back to Cronelli, and then it went up to Buckmaster, who passed it back to Cronelli.
Out of those two.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay. Also, you want to know why it's Cronelli? Because he's played every minute in the league so far.
Bingo,
so, more opportunities to make passes.
Bingo.
Anyway, so Harry got it, but I would have said Cronelli too.
I knew it was one of the center
I'm 2 for
backs.
2. Question 3.
But it's
Last
fun.
question. Who leads the team in yellow cards and how many? And we'll go through the rest of it. But who leads the team in yellow cards? I'm going to go Matthew. Who leads the team in yellow cards?
Is it Andres?
Incorrect. Rafa, who leads the team in yellow cards?
Pedrada?
Incorrect. J-Check, you probably know. Harry, who leads the team in yellow cards?
Jorge Hernandez was 7.
Close. There's a second half of that answer.
Okay. Jorge with. Is it?
Jorge has 7. Jorge has
There's
7.
somebody else.
Who else has 7?
Peron?
Correct. J-Tac with the answer. Jorge Hernandez and Barone with 7 yellow cards each. Who leads the league? That would be Landry for Charleston with 9. So we're almost in the league lead, and 2 players almost with the league lead. They're actually tied for second in yellow cards. Red card is led by Learman with Loudon. 2 red cards. Tough first half of the season. And passes, as I said, Cronali is tied for 7th with 834. The league leader is Maples with Mexico United at almost 1,200 passes so far through the season. And with shots, the league leader is Torres with Charleston Battery with 51 shots. 51. Paredes has not even half of that. 25 to lead the team. Wild. So, there you go.
How many goals does he have out of the 51 shots?
I don't know because he's on the league leaders in goals, so I couldn't tell you. What I do know is that our number 1 and 2 players for goals so far, 7. Jorge Hernandez has 7 goals. He leads the team. Luke Hawkinson now has 4 goals. He is second. And the league leader with goals is Jennings with Charleston and Abukora with Loudon. They both have 11 goals.
For what it's worth, I know at least with Jennings, take it with a grain of salt, because I know when SAFC was facing Charleston, I looked at him. He had, I think, 7 at the time, and I thought, maybe he'll be the player to watch. And then I looked, and over half of his goals were penalties. So, again, grain of salt.
Exactly. So, real quick, the player that I want to shout out with best performance, I think, so far in the first half of the season, and a big reason why his team is relevant, and who I was, whenever we did our preview, I mentioned his name. And if SAFC is looking for a mid-season addition that's in the league as of right now, I would go with Bonfiglio with Miami. He has 10 goals so far in the season. God knows he doesn't get any distribution, and he's played very well. So Bonfiglio with Miami has had a hell of a first half of the season.
Final thoughts. I know we did the other news here, but final thoughts here. We'll go with Rafa last because I think he's going to probably about the coach up in I don't know if he is or isn't, but I'm assuming he will since we haven't been on up in with Kerrville Tivy. My final thought is with SanAntonio FC, if you can buy one of the I deleted the screen here. Bid on one of the Texas jerseys, SAFC jerseys for the Flood.
They're the Viva jerseys, and they're the jerseys that they wore in this last match. So if you buy that Luke Hackinson jersey, which the last I checked was the most expensive one that's going for the most, That's actually the game-winning goal jersey there. So I think last time I checked, it was $300. But
Or
it
if
is the
you can-
actual Viva jerseys that they wore at the game on Saturday. They're auctioning those off. So if you want a piece of SAFC history and get money to a good cause, the flood victims, 100% do it. Number two, they're also Soccer Factory is also selling Hill Country
Hill
Strong
Country Strong,
SAFC
that's
shirts
what
for
it was.
$15. Go pick those up. Those need to be sold out yesterday. So
Reportedly, all proceeds go to
all
benefit,
proceeds go to the victims. Yep.
through the Spurs give for that here. So, if you can, please do that. Please keep thoughts and prayers into the families. I can tell you, as a parent, there's nothing worse than sending your kid to a camp and then, for God, whatever reason, natural disaster, for them not to make it home. A parent's worst nightmare. And like I said here, it shouldn't be a political issue. It just should be, unfortunately, as a parent, one of the worst things that that you can go through. And it's not just us. I know there was massive floodings in New Mexico. There's massive floodings in North Carolina. There's been 3 different areas in Texas that I think have been hit by flooding in the central Texas area. I know most of us, since since the Kerrville area is right in our neighborhood, and that's the one where I think almost 200 are missing or gone for that here. So at last count here. So from my final thought, if you can support the Hill Country flood relief, please do. Like I said here, I know at the tailgate here, I'm hoping Matt, and FTC and 210 Alliance and everybody else, if you have the ability to donate, please do. Like I said here, I know they'll donate it to a good cause for that here. And just as always, make sure you love each other, treat each other with respect, because as we saw, unfortunately, Mother Nature, has the final word. I hate saying that, but unfortunately, Mother Nature, whether it's a flood, earthquakes, tornadoes, avalanches, if you live in a snow area, like I said here, Mother Nature's undefeated when it comes to that. So please, if you can, please support anything that you can do for the Hill Country victims in the Kerrville or Central Texas area, because I know there's multiple areas within Texas that are being impacted. Matt, your final thought for that here, and then we'll go Jonathan. We'll go Jonathan, then Matt, or we'll go Matt, Jonathan, Royce, and then Rafa. We'll end up with you.
Great game, everybody. I want to thank everybody who showed out and cheered on with the supporter groups. I did get feedback from FO. It was pretty good. It looks great, and I'm just, the bigger we can fill out that section, the sooner you're gonna see it move. So the more people, the merrier. And then also, like I said, for tailgating, just get there before the 90 minutes before, whether it be 6:30 for an 8 o'clock game or 6 o'clock for the 7 o'clock game, 7:30 game. Just get there as early as possible and come just hang out. Don't that way you don't have to worry about paying for parking or walking all the way from Heroes. We like to grow the tailgate more. If you pull up and bring your own pit and just hang out, that's fine. There's no competition. We're just trying to make it one big tailgate area for everyone to enjoy and have fun and network. You never know if you meet someone new who can help you out. I mean, so yeah, just trying to throw that out there because we do want to grow the tailgate area up and see it full like it used to be back in the day.
Yeah, so kind of going back to what Harry was saying, he covered a lot of it there, but we've referenced it here. The unfortunate flooding a little over a week ago now in the Hill Country. For me, it was particularly odd because we had gone out to El Paso. We had driven through, I guess, some of the storm system that ended up causing all those problems as we were driving out west. So it was kind of weird for all this to be going on in our backyard while we were halfway across the state. But bid on the jerseys, buy Hill Country Strong shirts, look at the community in particular and see what ways they've asked for help. I even know one or two people who've gone and kind of helped with the cleanup efforts up there. So just anything you can do to kind of help them clean up and rebuild. And I think when the dust is settled, we need to, unless you absolutely have to, point fingers. But instead of doing that, try and avoid it if you can, and let's just figure out how to keep this from happening again. Whenever any sort of tragedy happens, yes, you need to be sensitive, but I think at the same time, once the dust has settled, you also need to look around and say, okay, how do we make sure this really is the last time, and that, never again is not just a slogan that we tell ourselves hoping it doesn't happen again. How do we actually make it to where it really is never again that something like this happens? Because I think it's more than reasonable that we could prevent these kinds of tragedies if we actually try, if we put our minds to it, and if we work together. Again, try not to point fingers unless you absolutely have to. If we work together, we can figure it out.
And I mean, mine's not going to be all that, all that passionate. I'm going to take it to a little turn back to the team. 4 in a row. Even with all the injuries we have 7 guys on the IL, still 4 in a row on the win streak. Let's keep it going. Keep it going. Little 2-week break, little summer break to get everything refreshed. Let's come back strong and let's keep the streak up. Let's keep it going.
Rafa?
And that, well, my final thought, like I said, coming from the high school side of things, I know I came on a 50 podcast last week with a little kind of coaches roundtable from other coaches around the state. We had a little moment of silence in memory of Coach Reese, his wife, and who unfortunately passed away from the floods there in Kerrville. Just a terrible loss for the Tybee soccer community and also for their high school and so forth. And he really turned around that program, and it was on the way up. Like I said, it was making its way up, and but the thing is, like I said, he's going to leave a legacy, and we're thoughts and prayers with them. And like I said, he was just very passionate for all his players, his students, his coworkers, the community, and his family. And like I said, when we heard the news, like I said, just a shout out to Eden. Like I said, he kind of broke the news at one of our chats, and they sent me the message that when they found him. And like I said, it's a little heartbreaking. Like I said, I forwarded the message to Coach Cano. Like I said, we kind of announced it on 50 about Coach Reach's passing and so forth. So just to let you know, like I said, you're on our thoughts and prayers, and overcome this. And like I said, and hopefully, like I said, and I know he's going to live with the players over there at Tybee High School with them. Just keep memory. And I know it's heavy. Going into this coming season. But like I said, you're not going to be walking alone, and he's going to be there every step. And like I said, we're always going to be in our prayers, and anything you guys need, just kind of reach out to us.
So my just to kind of end the show, and then I'm going to have Rafa talk about a realtor that supports us here. If you can support Plead the Sith, they're going to have an interview with Mike Jimenez from Area 210 podcast for that here on Sweep the League on the 15th, 5 p.m. For that here. And it is not kids safe, just to be up front.
It's not soccer safe either with that fool.
It's not soccer safe. And Mike Jimenez is known as Skip Jimenez in my book for that here. But should be interesting. Been told it'll be no holds bar as far as for the thing here. I've met Mike. Mike's a good guy. I've met the guys with Plead the Sith for that here. Great guys as well. Always about the family and community. Here in South Texas for that here. So if you can support, I know we're not officially part of Sweep the League or the Alamo City Podcast Network, but we have a good relationship. I know Matt and Rafa both chime in on their shows quite often For
Yeah,
here. So
Raffle
we do-
chimes in, all right.
So we do hopefully can try to promote each other's shows a little bit more and help grow. But I know this one here, Play the Sith, is a new show on the Sweep the League Sweep the League Alamo City Network. For that here in the interview with Mike Jimenez should be interesting for that here. And then just to kind of get out here,